welcome to another edition of the Crotchety Old Men Podcast. Hi, I'm your host, George Crumley, and today, as you can see, I don't have my crotchety old men with me, but instead I have Tiffany Tyuse, and we're going to have a lively discussion today about tax liens and tax deeds. So as always, I am so excited, and I think you're going to really enjoy this episode of the Crotchety Old Men. So first of all, Tiffany is a renowned expert in the field of tax sales and is an influential figure in teaching individuals about the power of ownership through tax liens and tax deeds. So as you can see, we're going to have a real good discussion because, I'm always talking about passive income, buying real estate. So Tiffany's going to give us another way to do that. Tiffany, welcome to the program. How you doing today?
I am doing great. I am having an awesome day. How about yourself?
Oh, man, hey, the only thing better than this is me being out playing 18 holes of golf. So,
Okay, I understand.
it. This podcast is, we've been doing this for a couple of years now, and we try to stay on point, and we always try to bring on interesting guests. And here again, I think we've done that by bringing you on. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. So help
Well,
my
thank you.
audience understand about your background. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, hi everyone. Thank you for allowing me to come to your show. Basically, I am Tiffany Tyuse, the tax sale expert. I specialize in teaching and assisting individuals not only invest, but also acquire real estate by means of tax liens and tax deeds. Now, with my particular background, I started back in like '06 in the Detroit market where I originally found out about homes that I was able to purchase on the market for like $100 or so. And so within these years, I've purchased Detroit properties through realtors, but also learned about delinquent taxes and tax defaults in real estate and acquiring properties that way through either tax liens, tax deeds, or over-the-counter properties. And just understanding that you really don't have to go into debt, have a mortgage, or anything like that in order to own, acquire, and invest in real estate. And so from back in '06 to currently now, I've learned how to acquire real estate and tax liens and tax deeds all over the United States.
Wow. Well, obviously, as you know, you're playing right in my backyard because I'm originally from Detroit, and that's where me and my brother basically cut our teeth on buying real estate. And that's what we would do is we would buy distressed properties, sometimes 2 and 3 in one neighborhood. It's just unheard of. I think at one point we bought 3 houses in one neighborhood. I think we paid like $15,000 for the 3 homes. Fixed them up and then ended up renting them out. But yeah, I think at the height of our investing, we had about between 12 and 15 homes. So yeah, Detroit's always been a prime market. Still own some property back there, and I always encourage anybody I'm talking to is always look at markets like that because you don't necessarily have to live in Detroit to buy in Detroit, and that's the beauty of owning real estate. There's a thing out there called a management company. That once you get the house up and running, they'll manage it for you. And hey, one of my favorite sayings again is mailbox money. You'll get that check in the mail every month, and you'll be thankful for it. So first of all, tell our audience what's the difference between a tax lien and a tax deed.
Okay, so guys, tax liens and tax deeds, because honestly, each state operates a little bit differently. So some states will auction off tax liens and others will auction off tax deeds. Now, a lien is just like a mortgage. It is a lien, a debt that's attached to your particular property. Now, in some states, when they're selling a tax lien, they're actually selling the debt itself. So it's like a credit. When you don't pay a credit card bill and it goes into collections, it goes on your public record. The same thing with a tax lien. If you don't pay your property taxes, they put it on public record. But with the tax lien itself, it still has to be paid. So if the property owner isn't going to pay it, they auction it off for investors to pay that lien. And once that property owner redeems that lien, it's going to be interest attached to it. So you're purchasing the debt that's attached to a property, and that would be through the delinquent taxes. Now, with a tax deed, with the deed itself, these particular counties will be selling off the actual deed to the property, but it's a tax deed because it's for delinquent taxes. Now, in some states, that tax deed is not redeemable where the property owner will be able to come in. So with a tax deed state, the property owner will actually lose the property itself. Now, some states will sell a redeemable tax deed, which in that stance, the property owner can redeem the property, but it's going to be interest attached to it. So you're dealing with deeds, which is the tax deed, the actual deed to the property, and liens is going to be the debt that's attached to the property itself.
Wow, that's a lot of information. Okay, let me break it down a little bit. Okay, so let's go back to the liens. Okay, so for example, if I don't pay my, and I'm assuming there's probably a time period involved. If I just don't pay my taxes for the first year, am I in default?
It depends on the state. You understand? So the state is some states, it allows you to be, once you're delinquent 1 year, and you have a deadline date where you have to pay your property taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that deadline date has passed, that's when it goes into a lien status. And so it has this open opportunity for you to still pay, but they've informed you and letting you know that they have an intent to issue a FIFA, which is a lien. Once that lien has gone beyond that period of time, it's going to be able to be sold to individuals or companies, depending on the state, that will allow them to come in and purchase that. So you get a certain amount of time to be able to take care of the actual lien itself, and you're informed ahead of time to let you know, hey, we're intending to issue this lien, and then after that, they're going to inform you we're about to sell that lien as well. So you get time period.
Yeah, it's interesting because as I asked the question, something just came to my mind. Okay, so this year, or it would have been last year, I appealed my property tax, and
Mm-hmm.
as little as it seemed, I won my appeal. Basically, they reduced the amount that I needed to pay, but there was still a delta, and the delta was like $197. And they sent me a letter. I just got it about 2 weeks ago, and it said, the remainder of your tax indebtedness is like $197. You need to pay it by this date. And then it said, you're right. It said if I don't pay it by this certain date, that they will put a lien on my property. So if for some reason it got lost in the mail, I forgot to pay it, I just ignored it, and I didn't pay it, could someone come actually in and buy my lien, lien for $197?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's about being proactive regarding
something.
It's about being proactive about your property, you understand? And you have to open up your mail, so it's not like they're not informing you of what's going on. It's just you have to read. Sometimes we don't even read our tax bill. We just look at the amount and be like, oh, I'll wait till next Friday to pay it. But what if by that Monday they're placing that lien already? So you're not only that amount, but also the lien itself is going to tack on an additional expense as well. You feel me? So it's really important to understand your rights in your particular area, your state and county in which affects you, because there are some states like Alabama, they have 3 years of liens they have to purchase before it's sold. You understand? So understanding the state statutes and the laws regarding property taxes in your particular area is highly advised. Mm-hmm.
So just to carry that a little bit further, so say I forget to pay it, somebody comes in and buys it. Now, they don't really own my home, but they own that particular debt with plus the interest. So then I'll get a letter in the mail and says that my lien was sold to X, Y, and Z, or there's a lien on my home, just like a mechanic's lien.
Mm-hmm.
And to remove it, I would have to pay the $197 plus any interest. So then
yes.
I would go and follow those instructions and I would pay it. So whoever bought it would then get, so I'm assuming the $197 would go back to the city and say there's $10.50 worth of interest. That would go to the person that bought my lien.
Absolutely,
Oh, wow, okay.
absolutely. And you should be notified that a lien is on your property. You
Right.
understand? But once you actually pay that off, you want to make sure you get a lien release letter, and
Mm-hmm.
that will be
Mm-hmm.
through your county collector's office, making sure that that lien is has been released. Just because you pay it doesn't mean that they went over to the courthouse and released the lien, because it could still be showing on the public records. So making sure you actually get a lien release letter showing that it has been confirmed that it has been paid off and the lien has been removed from the property itself.
Okay. All right. So let's stay here with these liens because I want to
Mhm.
take it to now. Okay. How do we create passive income? So where do we find these lien opportunities and how easy is it to purchase them? Yeah. How easy is it to purchase them?
It's extremely easy to purchase it, but
Really?
you have to. I always tell individuals, Google is your friend. All you have to do. I'm being so serious,
Hey,
like
duh. Yeah.
because it is public information, and you have to understand with real estate, everything is public information.
Right.
Whether you're going to pay for it or it's free for you, your local counties will advertise this information, whether it's on their website or if it's in their offices. Every county operates a little bit differently. Your bigger counties will have it on their website with slight instructions on how to operate, how to actually purchase the liens and when they're going to sell them. But all liens are not the same as well, because if you purchase a lien in Florida, Florida has a lot of liens and it's a very popular area, correct? Their
Hmm.
liens is a 2-year redemption period on those liens, which means the property owner has 2 years to redeem it from the property owner. The property owner has 2 years to redeem it from the investor.
Hmm.
Now, what's going to happen in that case, if you're an investor and you strategically invested in real estate where you're pretty sure the property owner is not going to redeem, that lien does not automatically convert over to a deed. It does not. And so
Okay.
what's going to happen with that lien, you're going to have to bring it to another tax sale, which is a tax deed sale, and then it's sold to the highest bidder. You understand? So you happen to understand exactly where you're investing in. In other cases, when you're investing in liens, let's say in Indiana, it
Hmm.
is a 120-day redemption period for Indiana, and it automatically converts over to a deed, but you just have to file the proper paperwork. So understanding the actual processes and procedures of the lien once you've purchased it. And I run into that a lot where individuals purchase a lien and then they're asking me, oh, what do I do next? It all depends on where you invested. Oh, the redemption period is 120 days. Beautiful. How long have you had it? Oh, I've had it a year. No. So that means you've lost out on the opportunity to redeem on that one, because it's a standard with that particular county in Indiana. You have to start the foreclosure process before the actual lien matures. So understanding what happens after the sale is extremely important, and that's where a lot of people lose their money, is not understanding the process after they won at the auction.
Teach, teach. All right. Okay. So before we go any further, I want you to tell, because you're a teacher, so I want you to tell the audience if they want to take a class, how they, how does that, and then we're going to talk about deeds because we just talked about the liens. Now we're going to talk about the difference. So, but I want you to tell the audience, about your class, your teaching, that whole thing, because this is some good
Absolutely
information.
good.
I'm learning some stuff now.
Absolutely. I do have a membership program. It's called Scale Your Ownership. You can find me on all social media platforms, and that's Tiffany Tyuse, the same way my name is spelled. And join my membership group so I can show you how to get some real estate and how to keep it.
Cool. All right. So let's talk about deeds. Okay. So we kind of talked about liens, whereas you're
Hmm.
not actually getting the property, you're actually making money off of the delta, which is the interest. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, a deed is different. So let's talk about the deeds.
Okay, so you have states that are going to sell a tax deed, and then you have a redeemable deed. Okay, so we're going to talk about with tax deeds, we're going to talk about the state of California. The state of California is the moment that you win that property at a tax sale, you can start the foreclosure property and the property becomes yours. You understand? Now with a redeemable deed, like somewhere, let's say the state of Georgia, you purchase a redeemable deed on the courthouse stairs, the property owner has a year to redeem. But if that property owner does exercise their right to redeem, not only do you get the money back that you paid for it, but you also get 20% interest as well. And understand that 20% interest is not accumulated over time. So if they redeem it the following day, they owe you 20% interest. If they redeem it in 360 days, they're giving you 20% interest.
20% regardless.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Absolutely. And see, with the tax deeds, I've come to understand tax deeds is a little bit more popular as in liens, because with the liens, there's depending on the state, you have 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. You understand? But with a tax deed itself, you're getting the property immediately. And we live in a society where we want it now. We want to hurry up and get it. We don't want to wait. You understand? Right. So that's what makes tax deeds a little bit more popular. And you're going to spend a little bit more money for tax deeds. But it is still a great way to be able to acquire and invest in real estate, especially if you're getting a 20% return. And even in Texas, it's another tax deed state where you're getting a 25% interest return on that particular investment. So strategically investing in tax deeds, knowing that the property owner will highly likely redeem. Imagine 20 to 25% return on your investment. You can't get that at Wells Fargo, Navy Federal, Bank of America, anywhere.
Merrill Lynch.
Nowhere.
Trade, none of those. You're right. You're absolutely right.
None of that.
So here again, clarification. So you mentioned buying on the courtroom steps. To me, that's an auction. Okay.
It is.
And as I remember, because I'm a licensed real estate agent, so I've taken classes. So basically, there's a certain day during the month that you go down to the courtroom, city council, and they basically let me take a step back. They'll send out a list, right? A list of properties that are going to be auctioned that day. Is it the same with the deeds?
Well, it's the same thing with the deeds, but they don't send you anything. You have to go and get that information.
Right. I mean, but I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you go down there and you know what's going to be listed that day. So in preparation, you have the addresses. You can drive by these homes and you can see what they look like to see if these are things that you want to bid on. You can't get in them because usually they're occupied, but you can drive by them to prepare yourself to say, yeah, this might be a good deed based on the amount that's owed. Correct?
Well, George, there's times where a lot of properties are unoccupied. So you will find properties. I've purchased properties where there were people actually living in them. But most of the properties that I've come across have been vacant properties. And so if you feel okay and you're safe enough and you're in your own environment, your own neighborhoods, you may want to go ahead on and step into those houses or just peer through the windows to try to get a estimate of what you think those repairs could be, or if you just want to know, okay, is this a full rehab, a gut job, or what type of situation I'm dealing with? You know what I'm saying? But all situations are completely different. But what is concurrent, what stays the standard across the board is putting your eyes on that property. First and foremost, you want to put your eyes on the property because sometimes you want to make sure a property is still there. You feel me?
Exactly.
Yeah. So definitely.
So okay. So we visit the property. We say this is one we want. We go down to the courtroom steps. So I'm sure it's you and several other people that, unless you run into one of those rainy days and all of a sudden nobody showed up on that Tuesday or Wednesday, and you find it's just you and one other person. So walk me through, how does the bidding go? Say the house is just walk me through it because I don't even know to speculate.
So, George, it all depends on the state. And you guys are going to hear me say this a lot. It all depends on the state and the county in which you're investing in.
Okay.
So, some counties, they have a highest bidder auction. A highest bidder auction is whoever has the most money in their pocket is going to win that property. You understand? So you've already registered for the sale if that county requires you to register ahead of time. Some counties allow you to register at the auction, but you're all registered, you're all checked in, and you're given a number, and that is
Mm-hmm.
your bidder number. And they will advise you of the instructions on how the procedure is to bid. Some counties will allow you to bid $100 increments. Others will say $500 increments. And so you're doing the highest bidder, and they tell you use your outside voice and say 10,000, 12,000.
Right.
Then next thing you know, there's a bidding war, 20, 50, 60. It's a whole bidding war going on. But then there's other auctions where it's a bid down interest type auction, where you're still going to pay the actual face amount of that particular lien, but
Mm-hmm.
you're bidding down the interest. So the highest interest you can get for a property is 12. Let's say in Mississippi, the highest interest you can get is 12%. But the individual that bids the lowest interest is the individual that's going to win that property. So our highest interest is 12, but I'm going to go in and say, I want to bid it 8%. Then someone else says, I'm going to do 5. Then there's other people that say, I'm a 0. I just want the property itself. I don't want the money. So you have to understand the type of auction and the bidding process of that particular auction in which you're attending. Now, there's one that I went to in Louisiana where you get your bidder number, you register, they get your bidder number, and your bidder number is put into, it's like a lottery.
Mm-hmm.
It's little balls with your bidder number, and they'll spin the thing around, and somebody go in there and grab that, and they say, do you want the property? They'll be like, well, no, let's get the next one. Okay,
Really?
do you want the property? Do you hear me?
Just like that.
So it all
So
depends
you're not
on the
really
auction.
you just it's a like it says a lottery. Wow.
Literally a lottery type auction. So you and then there's auctions where you're bidding on properties where you both bidded the same amount. The computer generates whoever bid it first will get the property. So it all depends, and that's why it's so important not only doing your due diligence when it comes to the property itself, you also have to do your due diligence when it comes to the auction. The
Mm-hmm.
auction and what the process of that
With the
particular
process,
auction
yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Wow. So just here again for my clarification. So when you um bid on a deed,
Mm-hmm.
what happens to the mortgage that's on that deed?
So, and that's a very great question, George. Like, we're going to speak about City of St. Louis. They have tax deed auctions, and we specifically speaking about the City of St. Louis because all the other counties outside of the City of St. Louis have a tax lien auction. So, with this particular City of St. Louis auction, what happens is everyone, when the whole process doesn't start just the day of the tax sale itself, this process has been going on a year prior to. So that year prior to when this particular property is put on a list showing that they're 3 years behind and we're going to start the auction process, the sheriff office will actually contact each party that has a vested interest in that property, which means the property owners and anyone that has a lien on that property is contacted before the actual auction even takes place, a year before the auction. So we're talking about liens. A mortgage is a lien, okay? A mechanic's lien.
Right.
Anyone that holds a lien on it is contacted, including the property owner, letting them know this property is going up for tax sale on May 18th, and if you want to protect your interest in this property, this is the amount that's due plus fees, advertising fees, and all that good stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, during that period of time before the auction, the mortgage company has the opportunity to go ahead on and save that property. If they do not, once that auction takes place, they lose all interest in that property.
Oh, wow.
That's what a tax deed. Now, we also have redeemable deeds. Remember, let's say the state of Texas. So during that process, all interested parties are still contacted before the auction. Now, even after the auction, when it's a redeemable deed, all vested parties still, during that redemption period, has the right to redeem that tax deed. And if they fail to do so, and if they do not exercise their right to reclaim that actual property, they will lose the property as well.
Wow. So on these deeds, do they come in with a minimum starting bid? Or
They come in with a minimum starting bid, which is the amount of back taxes that's due, advertising fees, sheriff fees, and title search fees. So all of those is going to be included in the starting bid amount. Because to take a property to auction, there's fees that's included in that. Advertising fees. Every particular county has a judicial newspaper, and it costs to advertise that in a newspaper. Even though it's required by state laws to do so, they still have to pay for that. So they're recouping all of their expenses to bring a property up to tax sale, and that's going to be the starting bid.
okay, so all right, here was some fun stuff. Okay, so tell me about one of your most interesting, interactions as far as purchasing a deed and what the outcome was.
Well, I'm going to tell you a very interesting thing that happened with a deed, and we're going to go back to the city of St. Louis. The city of St. Louis, I did all my research. I said, I got this in the bag. I know what I'm doing. You understand? I got this. And so I researched everything. I said, okay, cool. So when I get to the auction, somebody's bidding against me. I said, oh, shoot. So I already have some extra funds on standby. You understand? If in case I go over what's I already have with me. And of course, I did go over that amount. So what I said, well, let me go over here to Wells Fargo because driving in the city, you see this big sign that says Wells Fargo on the building. And so I was like, okay, Wells Fargo right here in the city. I said, I'm good. So I'll go over there to Wells Fargo. It is their mortgage finance building, right? Mm-hmm. That is not a bank.
Right.
Right, but they do have an ATM in there, but it's not a bank. I said, oh, shoot. And I said, well, I told my people to go on and send me the money over to put it in my account. And so I'm thinking I'm going to the bank to get the money. That wasn't the case. It's their mortgage financial center. So I said, well, let me just go ahead on and grab the money out the ATM. I have limits on my ATM withdrawals for every 24 hours.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, yes.
So listen, I could not get those funds to go pay for the property by the close of business that day. So if I can't pay for the property, guess what? I'm banned from the auctions.
Oh, wow.
So I had called the sheriff and them. I said, hey, I'm trying to get the money. The lady was even trying to work with me, which was my surprise. But I really could not get the funds until the following day. Now, mind you, City of St. Louis auction lasts for 3 days. So the following day, even though my little behind did not pay for that property, I went on up there and started bidding. And the second day I went to the auction, and that's a very important thing, guys, knowing that if an auction lasts for 3 days, go every 3 days because people do not pay for their properties and they have to re-offer it the next day. You understand? Mm-hmm. So I went back the following day. No one bid it against me. So I was able to get it for the $1,600, right? So now by the second day, I have well more than enough money to pay for the property and I'm getting it for the minimum bid amount. So which was a blessing. But after that sale, I was banned from the City of St. Louis tax sales for like 3 years. So I had to have someone bid for me. And then I finally talked to the sheriff and I had a meeting with him and with him and his whole board. And I had to explain what happened and they lifted the ban from me and I was able to start bidding again. But understanding, even as a tax sale professional, even as an individual that feels that, oh, I know this or I got this, sometimes you have to make sure, just because I saw that Wells Fargo sign, that was not the bank.
Right. You got a little excited there.
Do your due diligence fully, follow up, follow through just to make sure you're good. But now I'm good, I can bid, but that was probably the most craziest experience I had with a tax deed auction.
That's interesting. So obviously you brought up a couple extra questions as far as, okay, so when you win, they say, okay, you're the winner. You have to give them cash or certified check or?
Cash or certified funds. But also, George, it also depends on the auction itself. Some auctions give you 30 days to pay it. And then some auctions, you don't even have to pay for it until you actually file in foreclosure with the actual deed. So understanding, and I went to a tax sale in Mississippi. I love Mississippi because I'm able to use my credit card because it's an online auction, and that's why I stress the part of it all depends on the state and the county in which you're investing in. It is not a standard across the board on how these counties are going to operate, how you required to submit payment and when payment is due. So that's why it's so important to understand the auction that you're investing in and understanding that the next county over is not going to do it the same way.
Very interesting, man. This
Mm-hmm.
is some good stuff. I mean, like I said, I'm learning a lot today. Definitely
Okay.
learning a lot today. This is very, very interesting. So let's talk a little bit about your class. How long is your class?
I have it's a monthly membership. You can come
Oh,
in.
okay.
It's a monthly membership. I don't have it for a set amount of time. It's whatever it needs for the actual member to get the information that they need to understand. And that's why I try to explain to people. It's easy to go to an auction. It's easy to get up in there and bid on real estate and understanding the beginning part and going to an auction. The most difficult part is understanding what happens after you won that particular property. Understanding what you do next. And like if you're gonna deal with a state like Texas, depending on the type of property you're purchasing, you got a 6 month or a 12-month redemption period. So you say, oh, I want a property. Oh, I don't need your TIF no more. I don't want my property. Thank you. And next thing you know, you're like, I forgot. What do I do here? And
What do
you
I do
understand?
next?
A year later, you're like, oh man, I missed this or I missed that. And that's why I highly advise individuals to have a mentor. And that's why I've started the Scale membership group. Scale means start controlling your assets by leveraging its equity. And not only do I teach people how to acquire homes, we also picking up acreages of land, understanding that generational wealth doesn't mean purchasing real estate and selling it. You're just making money. Generational wealth means you have to hold on to your assets and pass it down for generations to come, passing it on to your children. Your intent is not to make a quick flip. Your intent is to build assets and money and wealth for your family. You understand what I'm saying? So that's all with that's in the membership group. I'm telling you, good people, I have a lot of great
You do.
members in the group, and they're acquiring real estate at these auctions and changing the way that they're thinking about real estate. Because I'm sure you, George, you was like, I had a guy that called me the other day, and it's someone I've known for a very, very long time. It's like, Tiff, I see you doing your thing, and I want to get in. I said, okay, just join the membership group. He said, if I get a property tomorrow, I need to be able to get a return on that by next week.
Quick stuff
No,
like
that's not how that's gonna work.
that. That's how we sometimes think. It don't work that way.
Right, and understanding the long game, that long game is where you get your most return and your most profit is on that long game. Because if you're selling it quickly, you're selling it for like crackhead prices. You
Mm.
understand? You're not getting the most out of that particular property. And understanding that chasing the bag is not chasing after the money. That real estate you got is the bag. That real
Mm.
estate is your money. And it
Right.
is highly, highly advised, hold on to your real
Hold on
estate.
to it. Yeah, I mean that.
Hold on.
Yeah, I mean that's what we've been talking about on the Crotchety Old Men Podcast the last couple of episodes is building that
Hmm.
legacy, holding on. This quick flip stuff is thing of the past. You need to buy it and hold it because real estate. I mean, they ain't making no more dirt. So you got to, that, and that's where we've missed it. As a
Yep.
community, as a group of people, is that we've had farmland and we've given it away for practically nothing. We had property aired to us and we just kind of let it go. We don't pay the property tax on it. We just forget about it. We got to get out of that thinking and we got to hold
Yes,
on
sir.
because that's where wealth is generated and that's where wealth is built is by holding on to property.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so I get that. I definitely get that. I'm
Hmm.
glad you made that point to our audience. Man, this has been good. We can go. We can keep talking for another 30 minutes. This is really good stuff. I mean, I had a list of questions. I don't know, if I'm gonna get into all of those because you've given us so much information, so much exposure, and obviously
Great.
there's a lot of opportunity. Here
Hmm.
again, talk to my audience. Tell them how they can join your group.
Hey, I will come to Tiffany. I'm on Instagram, Tiffany Tyuse on Instagram. I have the links there on my link tree. You can also send me a DM on my Instagram. Instagram is the best way to actually get a hold of me because I'm always on there. I'm always posting and I'm always giving people information about the liens and the deeds because, to be honest with you, George, a lot of people feel like it's fake. It's not even real
I
because
know.
they be like,
I know.
yeah, and I'd be like, no, it's really real.
Mm-hmm.
Or they listen to individuals that had bad experiences because they didn't know what they were doing. You understand? I teach people to start right where they are with what they currently have. Because a lot of people look at real estate, that sexy part of real estate, right? Where I'm getting this $1 million property and you
Exactly.
understand? I'm teaching you
Exactly.
how to start from the dirt. You understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because a lot of these real estate gurus, they start off with their income tax check. You understand? Start off with one property. So understanding how to start right where you are with your current income, where you are right now, and building from there and learning along the process of it. Because nothing beats getting the knowledge and the education. You understand? Because you can take that anywhere with you, no matter what market that you're in. You're able to learn how to pivot within the real estate market with whatever is going on and being able to actually make money from it. Tax liens and tax deeds, they're recession proof. They're a collapse proof. They're inflation proof. They're the stock market proof. None of these particular things that's happening in our current economy is being affected by tax liens and tax deeds are not affected by any of these things, guys. And that's why it is backed by the government. These are state laws and state statutes that are put in place for you to actually win when it comes to tax lien and tax deed investing. You're either going to get a property or you're going to make money. And I can
Mm-hmm.
show you how by joining the Scale membership group, good people. Tiffany Tyuse on all platforms. Join my membership group today so you can get yourself some real estate.
There you go. There you go. Tiffany, it's been, I mean, this has been really great. I really, really appreciate you coming on to the show. And we'll always offer this invitation to come back anytime, you want to
Yes,
share
sir.
with the audience. I hope this, grows your business, triple because you have a lot of valuable information, which is what we try to do on the Crotchety Old Men Podcast. Is provide information, education, exposure, and opportunity to our audience, and you've definitely done
Absolutely.
that today. Definitely done that.
Absolutely. And thank you for the offer for even
Oh,
coming on your
absolutely.
show. But also, George, for anyone, no matter when you listen to this particular broadcast, I'm giving out a free item, which is the 7 biggest mistakes to avoid at a tax sale. Just come to my Instagram page, and in my Instagram, in the DM, type the number seven, the numerical number seven, and I'll get that ebook out to you for free.
Oh man, I may even do that after we hang up from here.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm definitely interested in everything you said. This has been
Right.
some really, really good information. Really good information. So,
You're
hey,
welcome. You're welcome.
folks, thanks for joining. And here again, thanks for coming on. As we always say on the Crotchety Old Men Podcast, if you didn't know, now you know. Tiffany, take care. Thanks. And talk to you soon.
All righty. Thank you.
Bye.